with the announcement that James Earl Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States and longest-living former president ever at 98, has decided to receive hospice care instead of additional medical intervention following a series of short hospital stays. Tributes and historical perspectives have begun appearing in the mainstream media. While Carter's presidency still receives mixed reviews, his long life after leaving office is admired by most people of any political persuasion. However, in the UFO world's media, Jimmy Carter is a rock star. He is the only president to have filed a public report claiming he had seen an unidentified flying object, and talked about it a number of times afterward. Let's take a look at Carter's sighting and the ramifications it had on him, his political campaign, his presidency, and the world of UFO research. There were about 20 of us standing outside of a little restaurant, I believe, a high school lunchroom, and a kind of green light appeared in the western sky. This was right after sundown. It got brighter and brighter, and then it eventually disappeared. Didn't have any solid substance to it. It was just a very peculiar-looking light. None of us could understand what it was. That 1973 quote is one of the many retellings of the incident Jimmy Carter gave. The actual sighting occurred in 1969, 2 years before he was elected governor of Georgia. According to his recollection, Carter was waiting to give a speech at a Lions Club meeting at about 7:15 in the evening, when an attendee pointed something unusual in the sky. The scientifically oriented Carter, he trained in nuclear engineering before his father died and he returned to the family peanut farm, estimated the object to be about 30 degrees above the horizon. He remembered that the object changed colors from white to blue, then red and back to white. It then faded into the sky. While Carter could not remember the exact date of the sighting, Lions Club records show he spoke there on January 6, 1969. Dear Governor Carter, for the past 17 years, the International UFO Bureau, Inc. has researched the subject of unidentified flying objects, commonly called and known the world over as flying saucers. Needless to say, we are deeply interested in the recent sightings in and around Georgia, and for this reason have several field investigators in the area at this time. Reports have reached our office that you have observed the objects, and I'm wondering if you would be kind enough to supply us with the details of your experience. I have enclosed one of our sighting forms, and will welcome any additional statements or illustrations that you care to offer. Feel free to ask any question you may have, and if the Bureau can be of service to you or your office, feel free to contact us. Until then, I remain Hayden C. Hughes, Director, IUFOB. Jimmy Carter had mentioned his sighting at a Southern Governors Conference after he was in office, saying, "I don't laugh at people anymore when they say they've seen UFOs, because I've seen one myself." Enough people talked about it that the news reached the International UFO Bureau, and its director and founder asked him for a report. Carter was also contacted 2 months later by the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena in Kensington, Maryland, and returned a similar typewritten form detailing his sighting. In an interview with the Washington Post, Hughes explained the significance of Carter being so publicly open about his experience. The president's sighting was not an outstanding one. What was outstanding is that it showed a new open-mindedness of people like President Carter and a breakthrough in people's attitudes toward UFOs. Hughes noted in the letter that he had investigators in Georgia in 1973 because of a number of UFO sightings there and across the southern U.S., including the famous incident in Pascagoula, Mississippi, claimed a spacecraft flown by extraterrestrials abducted them. Interestingly, Carter said that he had not been told by anyone to keep the sighting a secret, and he gave Hughes and the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena permission to use his account and name, which they did. Jimmy Carter ran for president and mentioned the sighting in at least one interview, saying, "A light appeared and disappeared in the sky. It got brighter and brighter. I have no idea what it was. I think it was a light beckoning me to run in the California primary." During the presidential campaign of 1976, Carter promised that, if elected president, he would push to release every piece of information about UFOs available to the public and to scientists. Unfortunately, after winning and taking office, Carter rescinded on this promise, giving the response that all other presidents have given when pressed on the matter. He said many of the documents had defense implications, and releasing them would pose a threat to national security. Like all other presidents, he didn't release the ones that didn't have defense implications either. Now that Carter was in the White House, opposition researchers, and perhaps people upset he didn't disclose any UFO documents, began digging into the incident. There was a discrepancy in the date Carter remembered, October 1969, and the date the Lions Club provided for the speech. An investigation in 1976 found no other people who could remember seeing the UFO except for guest Fred Hart, who remembered seeing a blue light or something or other in the sky that night. Like some kind of weather balloon they send out or something. While Carter himself admitted that he didn't believe the light was from an alien spaceship, he referred to his scientific education and his hobby of amateur astronomy, and objected when some researchers pointed out that Venus was a bright object in the sky on January 6, 1969, and he and the guests could have mistaken it for a UFO. For those who said it could have been a military aircraft, he pointed out that the UFO made no sound. Another investigation noted that Eglin AFB in Florida was using rockets to study the upper atmosphere, using releases of glowing chemical clouds from the rocket's exhaust. The launches took place near dawn or dusk to utilize the resonant scattering of sunlight. It was estimated that Carter and the other guests could have been the right distance away to mistake these clouds for a UFO that changed colors and then faded away.
While the chemical clouds explanation is the most accepted theory as to what Jimmy Carter saw on that January evening in 1969, it is not definitive. Carter never backed away from admitting to seeing a UFO, but generally followed up with an admission that he didn't think it was extraterrestrials. It is now 2023, and former president and UFO experience Jimmy Carter is nearing the end of his life. In addition to his longevity, his lifelong quest for world peace, his commitment to providing affordable housing to all, he will leave us as the president who did the most to help gain acceptance and credibility for UFO sightings. For that, we thank him.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to support this kind of content. See you on the next travel.